in a way, I want to share this video because there's a possibility that a few weeks from now, or maybe a year from now, I'll watch this video and it will be exactly what I need to hear. So, they say that becoming an adult, the transition phase from 18, 19, 20 onward, basically the young adult phase, is one of the hardest transitions that you'll ever go through. I mean, all of life has its scary transitions, but this is one of the biggest ones, because all of a sudden you have the responsibility of your own life. The responsibility. And when you don't do what you need to do, you feel the repercussions. More than if your parents ground you. It means that maybe you have a harder time getting the groceries that you need, or saving up for that trip that you wanted to go on, or being able to move when you want to move. And then you add on that maybe you're a young adult who is not doing things the way that your peers do it. You didn't choose to do it exactly the same. You still have a plan in mind, but because you're kind of not really, like, no one else your age is really doing that, you're not exactly sure how to do it. That's me right now. And on top of that, just normal life experiences, and there being this thing of grief in me with a relationship, a family member that has been weighing on me for a year now at least. So all of that combined together has left me in kind of a confused space, where it's the feeling of like not really knowing who you are, because you're not exactly sure how to react. You don't really know where to put your foot in front of the other, like, because it's hard to see. It's like there's no lights on and you don't really know how to take your first step. You're just feeling it. You're literally just winging it. So tonight's the new moon, and today has been a really weird day. Basically, I'll try to spare some of the details, but basically what happened is I woke up, and from that point onward, pretty much everything that happened were like misadventures, like these weird things that were happening, and I kind of just was rolling with it. Like, I would get the emotion of oh my god, and then just kind of like persevere through it, and cool things would still happen, and you know, like, I would feel better afterwards because I persevered. Magic would still keep happening, and like, at one point I let myself out of my car, and my spare key is at the house, which is like 30 minutes away from where I was at. Luckily my dad was right around the corner, so he came and picked me up. But before, like, this was later on in the day, so I had already experienced some other misadventures, and before I went out to go shopping, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, like, allow myself to just really, like, release and allow myself to just feel, like, enjoy the moment, basically. So I don't have to be like all like fake happy, but just seriously enjoy the moment. If there's a song on the radio that I want to listen to, okay, cool. If I think those trees are pretty, I'm gonna like admire them. I don't know. So just enjoy the moment. And so I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna just see what happens if I just like let myself do that. And I want to see some synchronicities. So like, universe, can you show me some synchronicities? And yeah, so like that's basically what I was like wanting when I left to go to the store. So I put that into the universe. And I'm kind of like letting myself enjoy the day. And then some more misadventures happened. Like, they did not stop. But so I'm standing at my car with the grocery cart and the groceries in there. My dad will be there in just a few minutes, and I know that. And I'm kind of hungry. I haven't had dinner yet. And I'm thinking about how, like, I set that intention, and yet weird things were still happening. And so, like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to eat something from my food. So I pull out this chocolate bar that I bought. And in the wrapper, there's a love note. Like, they wrote a love note on there. And basically the love note is saying, if only you knew how much I loved you. How beautiful you are to me. And I just felt it that was from the universe. And it was like, even though these misadventures are happening, I love you. This is not talking about whether I love you or not. I love you. And that message, I feel like, goes beyond just that day. I feel like it goes to everything. So anything that I ever experience, that maybe I'm like, what the heck? You know, is the big guy up there just unhappy with me? It's not that. I am loved. And it's not a love like, you do the things that I like you to do and that's why I love you. It's literally unconditional love of, you're beautiful to me. You're amazing. And I love you. And it doesn't change. And the things that are going on are not happening to me as punishment. And that's not what it's about. And I think that's like a paradigm shift, like completely. Especially for me. And a lot of us may feel really guilty. Because especially in like the spiritual community, we're taught that we manifest everything. So if you're having a day where you're having a bunch of misadventures, you may feel like, well, I'm not manifesting very well today. And I think sometimes it's just what's in the air. It's like sometimes it rains. Sometimes it rains. Sometimes we have misadventures. And we can still, like, kind of joke about it. And we can still, like, kind of have fun during the experience. Somehow. And cool things will end up... Because I ended up being able to spend some time with my dad. And I wasn't going to try to. Because, you know, I wanted him to have his private time. But we ended up being able to spend some time together. So there's a plus in that. And I will hopefully remember to not lock my keys in the car next time. But anyway, so I come home and it's the new moon, so I'm wanting to set intentions and let go of stuff. And of course what came up was to release my grief. But I was feeling sad and upset because of money stuff, finances, and the fact that I'm wanting to move, but I don't really know what I'm doing, and blah 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 blah. So, like, sparing you the details of my personal life, I was just feeling kind of disappointed and overwhelmed and like, you know, I'm not smart enough for all of this. Like, I don't know what to do. So I'm feeling that way, and then starting to feel kind of like angry at myself. And I click onto the internet. I just feel intuitively to get on. And I look at my email, and someone had commented on a video that I've done a while back. And I'm like, I just knew that I was supposed to watch that video that I did. So I watch it. And I am talking about the same thing that I'm going through right now. I'm talking about how our life are like stepping stones. You might have watched that YouTube video before. And it was like I was talking to myself. I started laughing. Because it'd be one thing if I watched a video on YouTube of someone else saying it and it being synchronistically exactly what I needed to hear. But it was me saying exactly what I needed to hear. Granted, you know, my personality is not going to change way too much, so I'm going to know what I need to hear. But, I mean, it was exactly, it may have even meant more to me now than it did when I said it. And I was like, thank you, universe. I do feel loved. You know, I mean, that's synchronicity unfolding right there. It's telling me, hey, you know, don't be too hard on yourself. Be forgiving of yourself. And you're more than what you're experiencing right now. So, and then keep on going, because you want to be here, because you want to be alive, and you want to live the best possible life that you can. And the universe supports me in that. The universe genuinely wants that. Genuinely wants that for all of us. And then I'm just listening to this Marianne Williamson quote that I actually spoke in my graduation speech. I actually spoke this quote, and it's, you know, the one of our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. It's not our darkness, but our light that most frightens us. And as we move past our own fear, we don't just heal ourselves, but we are healing power to the world. So it's holy work to move past your fears. And that's not a word-for-word quote. There are more details to it. Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love. You should definitely read it if you feel moved by that quote. So, basically, moving past our own fears, looking at our fears, rather than giving in to them, looking at them. What are we afraid of? So we look at it, and then we just have compassion for ourselves and what we're going through. And then for me, right now, it's surrendering too. It's surrendering all of this again, and I've talked about that in an earlier video. Surrendering it, surrendering it, surrendering it. And yes, that doesn't mean that you don't do things, and you don't set plans, and you don't try to make things work, and you don't work towards making things work. As simple as that sounds. But yes, I mean, you still need to do that stuff, obviously. But surrendering it in your heart, basically. So for me, that's where I'm coming from, is this place of I'm letting it go. I'm letting the grief go. I'm letting needing to control all of it go. And instead I want to work towards my focus being on trusting. Trusting. And believing that, like, good things, wonderful things are unfolding in my life. That I am loved. That I am truly loved. Not just by the universe or some higher power either, but by friends and family and myself. I am loved. I am not alone in this. And not to underestimate myself either. So yeah, that's a big message. Don't underestimate yourself at all, because you're so capable of so much. So freaking capable. And I know I am, you know. I mean, there are things that I have done that, and things that I've worked through that I would have never imagined even possible to be able to. So that's all I want to say. I just had this incredible moment when listening to that quote of Marianne Williamson, and just realizing that this is what this is all about. Everything that's happening in my life right now, everything, the good stuff, the stuff that is making me upset, all of it is happening, and all of it is whispering to me, move past your fear. You are loved. Love yourself unconditionally. And in my video, Stepping Stones, I talk about that I feel like one of my biggest life lessons is learning to love myself unconditionally. And I think part of really loving yourself unconditionally is knowing that you shouldn't underestimate yourself. And that's also part of moving past your fear. Don't underestimate yourself, and don't underestimate life. It may start off as a small seed of belief, but with nurturing and with water, it can grow, and it can take root, and it can become an amazing tree that even when the wind blows it, it stands tall, and it, you know, I mean, they handle the most out there. They're out in the rain and the snow and the everything, and most of the time they can withstand it. And even if something gets in their way, they just move over it. So, if that helped you somehow tonight, awesome. And if not, well, if anything, I know it's something that I can look over later and be like, yes, thank you, Elizabeth, for recording this video, because that's exactly what I needed to hear tonight. So, it's baby steps sometimes. Baby steps. Just remembering that a little step does count. One day at a time, right? Just take it one day at a time. There's something really awesome right now about being alive and being here. Thank you. Thank you so much for existing. If you haven't been told that today, thank you for existing.